Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to compare all three full carbon fiber shin guards currently out there on the market. One being the Nike Mercurial Blade with a retail price of $100 US, two being the C6 Agility carbon fiber shin guards with a retail price of $150 US, and three being the Diadora Gamma Carbonio with a retail price of $200 US. Now, I'm sure the first observation that a lot of you guys have made is that these are very, very pricey shin guards, probably a lot more expensive than the ones you're used to buying. And the second comment that's going to follow that observation is you don't need $200 shin guards to play soccer. And my response to that particular statement is you would be 100% correct. Your playing ability is not determined by the shin guards you're wearing, whether they're $8 shin guards or $200 shin guards. Your ability to play soccer is really down to you and not the equipment that you have either on your feet or, in this case, on your legs. Now, with that being said, do I think that there are advantages to having a product like this? Absolutely. They definitely are more protective than your average shin guard, which I'm going to get to in the comparison because there are some major differences between all three shin guards here. But what I really want to hammer home is that this is a type of product that isn't for everybody. If you feel that $100, $150, $200 is just way too unreasonable for a pair of shin guards, then great. There's nothing that I can really tell you to convince you otherwise. But if you really are looking for something that is the best of the best in terms of fit, comfort, protection, then this is definitely a video that you should take a look at because the products in this video really are some of the best currently out there on the market. So without further ado, we'll get into the comparison and talk about what the major differences are between all three of these very special shin guards. To start off this comparison, I'm going to weigh in all three shin guards, but before we get into the weigh-in process, I want to talk about the misconception around carbon fiber products and their weight. I think for the most part, everybody understands that carbon fiber as a whole is a very lightweight and very strong material. But when it's implemented in such a small form factor, such as a shin guard, the difference in weight between carbon fiber and plastic is minimal to say the least. So what I'm getting at here is don't buy a carbon fiber shin guard and expect it to be night and day in terms of the difference in weight between the carbon fiber product and the standard plastic product. So a great example of this would be the Nike Mercurial Blade, obviously the carbon fiber shin guard from Nike, retailing at $100, and the $20 Nike Mercurial Light shin guard made with a plastic shell. So we'll throw this one on the scale first. Keep in mind that this is a size large. They're both a size large, so this is a very fair comparison. Throw this on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 2.25 ounces, so very, very lightweight. You're not going to notice the weight either in hand or on your shins. We'll take that off the scale and we'll throw on the Nike Mercurial Blade, and you can see that these weigh in at a little bit more, 2.8 ounces. And this doesn't necessarily have to do with the carbon fiber weighing more than the plastic. It has more to do with the foam backing, which is a little bit thicker on the Mercurial Blade than it is on the Mercurial Light. So 2.8 ounces for the Mercurial Blade. We'll throw on the C6 Agility. You can see that this is a significantly larger shin guard than the Mercurial Blade in terms of coverage. It's also a lot thinner and has a much thinner backing. So we'll throw that on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 2.1 ounces, so lighter than the other two shin guards that I showed you, which is pretty incredible considering how much coverage you're going to get out of this particular shin guard and how strong it is. So we'll take that off the scale and we'll throw on the Diadora Gamma Carbonio. Again, a size large. We'll throw this on the scale. These provide a tremendous amount of coverage, and you can see that they weigh in at a very lightweight 3.75 ounces, which is pretty incredible considering that it wraps pretty much your entire leg. So that's pretty much it as far as the weigh-in portion of this video, and we'll move on to talking about the differences between the physical shin guards themselves. While all three of these shin guards are listed as carbon fiber, it might surprise you to learn that only one of them is 100% carbon fiber. Now, starting off with the Diadora Gamma Carbonio, it is a combination of carbon, Kevlar, and fiberglass. So there is carbon fiber used in the construction of the shin guard, but it is not the majority material. There is Kevlar,
there is fiberglass, which are not necessarily bad materials to use in a shin guard, but they're not to the same caliber or same level of quality you would get from a carbon fiber shin guard. With that being said, they're still incredibly solid, and out of the bunch, I would argue that these are going to be the most protective of all three shin guards out here, and probably the most protective shin guard currently out there on the market. The middle guard, which is the C6 Agility, this is the 100% carbon fiber shin guard of the bunch. It is the highest grade of carbon fiber currently available on the market. It's extremely well made. You can see that there are absolutely no imperfections in the carbon fiber whatsoever, and it is just rock solid. Of the bunch, it definitely is the most solid in terms of kind of how hard the shell is, and it's ultra thin. As you guys can see, the shell itself is less than half the thickness of a penny, and most of the thickness to the shin guard is in the liner itself. Overall, definitely the highest grade of carbon fiber shin guard out there, at least in my opinion. Moving on to the Nike Mercurial blade. This one might surprise you because it's only 5% carbon fiber, while the rest of the shin guard is made from fiberglass. Now, the reason it has the carbon fiber look is because there is one single layer of carbon fiber just to give it that look, but for the most part, this is made from fiberglass and not from carbon fiber. Only 5% of it is there just to give it that look. Yes, does it add to the hardness? Absolutely. But for the most part, this is not really a carbon fiber shin guard if you're talking about carbon fiber being the majority material. Now, moving on to the liners themselves, the Diadora Gamma Carbonio features more of a mesh style liner. It will absorb water, it can stink a little bit, you can clean it of course, and it definitely is the most old school of the bunch. It feels pretty good, it does absorb water though, but for the most part it does feel nice and comfortable, which is important, and it does offer a little bit of ventilation, whereas the other ones don't really have any ventilation at all. You can see that there are some cutouts here throughout the front of the shell. Now, moving on to the C6 Agility shin guard. This shin guard features a very thin pour-on backing, which is a very kind of absorbent foam. It is a very, very thin backing, allowing for a super low profile on this shin guard, and of the bunch, this one definitely is the thinnest and pretty much blends into the exact shape of your leg. It's difficult to notice that you're even wearing shin guards at all, which to me is something that I really like about the C6 Agility shin guard. Now, the Nike Mercurial blade features the thickest liner of the bunch, and it is actually a dual layer pour-on insert. So you have two single layers of pour-on with these laser cut etchings going through the inside just to allow the sweat to kind of wick away and bead off of the backing of the shin guard. What's great about the Nike Mercurial blade as well as the C6 Agility is that they take only a couple minutes to dry once you've used them, simply because the pour-on foam does not absorb any water. Alright, here is a look at how the shin guards fit. Keep in mind that all the shin guards that I'm showing in today's video are a men's size large. On my left leg, I have the Diadora Gamma Carbonio, and on my right leg, I have the full size or large size of the C6 Agilities. So you can see that the Gamma Carbonio is a little bit different in comparison to other shin guards simply because of how low it sits. A normal shin guard like I have with the C6 Agility sits about right here, a little bit above the ankle, whereas the Gamma Carbonio comes right down to the base of your foot, providing really the ultimate amount of coverage. And then of course it wraps pretty much your entire leg and provides tons of extra protection. And it really is the only shin guard out there on the market that's going to provide coverage on both the inside, outside, and partway across the back of your leg. So if that's something that interests you, there really is no other option than to go for the Gamma Carbonio. As far as the C6 Agility goes, you get plenty of coverage going across the front of your leg. And like I mentioned, the shell on this shin guard is by far the hardest of all three that I'm showing in today's video. And in terms of impact protection, this is definitely going to be one of the better options, if not the best option currently out there on the market. It really just does come down to personal preference. Of course, you guys can see how thin both of these shin guards are. It's almost impossible to tell that I'm even wearing shin guards because both of these fit so well and are so thin. So again, if you are looking to stay low profile, both the Diadora as well as the C6 Agility shin guards are very, very good options. Alright, on my left leg I have the Mercurial Blade Shin Guard by Nike, and on my right leg I have the smaller version of the C6 Agility, again both in a size men's large. In terms of coverage, these are both going to be a little bit more low profile. They span from right about here to here. That's the Mercurial blade. You can see the C6 Agility provides pretty much the same amount of coverage. The major difference between the two is going to be thickness. Again, the C6 Agility pretty much blends right into my leg. It's almost impossible to tell that I'm wearing any kind of shin guard, whereas the Mercurial blade has more of a thicker profile to it, mainly because it does have that thick dual layer pour-on kind of liner there. So should you take a direct impact, I would say that the Mercurial blade is going to absorb more of the impact than the C6 Agility, but for the most part, should you take a direct impact to the front of the shin, both of these are going to provide some pretty good protection. It really just comes down to what your own personal preferences are. Personally, I like this smaller style shin guard than the larger style, just because I don't like having a ton of coverage, and I just like the feel of both of these shin guards. But for the most part, if you are looking for a super low profile shin guard that you really can forget about when it's on your shins, the smaller size or smaller version of the C6 Agility is definitely the way to go. But I wouldn't write off the Mercurial blade either, because it does feel really, really good. Both of these shin guards fit tremendously well too. So that's pretty much it as far as how these shin guards fit and what the sizing is like. And move on next to my final thoughts.
So, of the 3 shin guards featured in today's video, which one is my personal favorite? I would definitely pick the C6 Agility, simply because I love the design of the shin guard. It's super high quality, very, very rigid, providing decent protection, and they're just extremely low profile and very, very thin, which is definitely what I look for in any pair of shin guards. And to me, it is the ultimate carbon fiber shin guard currently out there on the market. With that being said, the Diadora as well as the Nike shin guard definitely serve their purpose. If you are looking for maximum protection and maximum coverage, especially down the sides and back of your leg, then the Diadora Carbonio is definitely something to take a look at. Or if you want something that's still very low profile but still offers some pretty good impact protection should you take a direct blow to the shin guard, I would say that the Mercurial blade is probably something to take a look at, coming in at the lowest price as well. So if you guys are interested in picking up any of these 3 shin guards, there will be buy it now links to all 3 down below in the description. Go ahead and check them out. Like I mentioned earlier, these are not products that are for everybody. Not everybody is willing to spend $100+ on one single pair of shin guards, but keep in mind that these are the best of the best. They're ultra premium products, and they will last a very, very long time. If you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.